got the Texans fan by the podcast.
Jim Bridge, Fifth Ward Crenshaw.
You know the best out there.
Keno, from Diggity 713.
To all my Texans Nation. If you feeling good, I want you to throw them H's up high. Yeah, like that. I see you. Let's swarm. Yeah, Houston, Texas, born and raised. Yeah, that's where I'm from. The best city in the state. Yeah, we stay turned up. There's excitement in the air for the Houston Texans.
Yes, sir.
We swarming all year, causing havoc, we wrecking. Coming off that edge, we got 5-5-5-1. Thing on the outside, locking down your number one. All about the swarm mentality. And the H, standing on business is the way we operate. I rep that 7 like CJ, that 1 like Diggs, that 3 like Dale. H-time we doing it big, you know that 12 out here. And don't you never forget, better pick your poison, cause we got Joe in the midst. We rock that battle red, still blue, Liberty white, H-time blue, drip galore, man, we so fresh, fire like the field. Shout out to the whole squad, chasing greatness. Eyes on the prize, one goal, it's time to take it.
Let's get it.
Throw them H's up, throw them H's up, now you throw them H's up, throw them H's up, we throw them H's up, throw them H's up, let's show love for them Texans, cause them Bulls about to perform. Throw them H's up, throw them H's up, now you throw them H's up, throw them H's up, we throw them H's up, throw them H's up, let's show love for them Texans, cause them Bulls.
Hello. Welcome back to the Texans Fan Battle Podcast. I'm your host tonight, Matthew Briggs. And always, I got some special guests. But before I introduce the man of the hour, I got my brother from another podcast. Always welcome to have him on the show. We got Mr. Harley Dugan. Harley, what's going on, brother?
Hi, how you doing, man? I'm doing just fine. Can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear, brother.
Cool.
All right.
Yeah, no, I'm doing good, man. Doing well.
All right. And I'm probably going to murder his last name, like always. But from 97.5 ESPN Houston, co-host of the Killer Bees, we have Mr. Jeremy Branham.
Oh yeah, you knocked out the park. That's right.
Okay, sometimes people mispronounce it, so I want to get it right. Jeremy, how's it going?
It's going pretty good. Astros just got shut out. Good thing is they played fast, so
Yes.
A quick shutout.
Yeah, we won't be distracted. Not that we would be, but yeah. No, things are good. How are you guys?
Doing well.
I'm okay. When you don't hit an 8 ERA pitcher, but you just drop 3 runs, well, 1 run, I guess, against Skeens, I mean,
it's Astros for you, though. That's what they do. They'll beat a good pitcher, and then they lose to a tomato can.
It's just frustrating.
No, you're right.
And honestly, with the Astros, I'm really kind of surprised we're still around first place. Like, I thought we were going to have a little bit more fall off. So I'll take it. Especially last year and the year before that, we were worse place than we are now. So I'll take it, I'll take it little by little. It's still early, not even halfway there. So
I think they'll be fine. They need to get healthy, but I think they'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, hopefully Jordan comes back soon. So
Not too soon, though, because you might have another broken bone. You never know.
Yeah, they might have to do another imaging on him, man. My goodness.
yeah. Well, speaking of injuries, OTA, Jeremy, I've been seeing your TikToks and listening to you on the radio and everything. CJ Stroud, big talking point. And there's rumors that he had surgery. People are saying it's just tendinitis. I think it was Chris Sims that said it looks like it's just tendinitis. What's your thoughts on this? Should Texans fans be hitting the panic button, or is it too soon?
No, you shouldn't be hitting the panic button. Absolutely not. Look, if he had major surgery, I don't think he's on the practice field. I don't think he's shooting basketballs at the Fertitta Center. So I don't think it's anything serious. My annoyance with this conversation is one, people that get annoyed that you're having the conversation. He's the franchise quarterback for a team that should be a playoff team, that I think is a dark horse Super Bowl contender. Of course it's a conversation. CJ Stroud crossing the street is a conversation. So CJ Stroud not throwing in voluntary OTAs is a conversation. Especially last week they gave us a nothing burger. Oh, everybody's on their routine, their own routine. He's fine, no big deal. And then all of a sudden this week, oh yeah, by the way, we were misleading you. There is something wrong with his shoulder. And even if it's minor soreness, that's something. So that's my annoyance. My annoyance also is everybody saying, relax, don't freak out. Well, no one's freaking out, but we are aware that CJ Stroud has a messed up shoulder. And like, it could be, oh, he did too much on the shoulder press. Okay, that's fine. He's still not throwing the ball. So I'm not concerned, and it's way too early to hit the panic button. Right now, it's just something to monitor. But it wouldn't be the first time that an NFL organization said, oh, nothing's wrong, and then something was wrong. Christian McCaffrey missed voluntary OTAs last year. Kyle Shanahan, I'm not worried about it. What happened with Christian McCaffrey last year? So I don't think that's the case. I believe them whenever they say it's minor and it's nothing to worry about. I do believe them. But I get annoyed by, oh, you guys shouldn't even be talking about this. Well, of course we're going to talk about it. The quarterback of the football team's not throwing a football. That's something you discuss.
Right. It's Texas news, right? Like it needs to be heard. And let me ask you, Hardy, the reason why I think a lot of people are worried too is kind of happened last year with Christian Harris, right? People are still wondering, is that the case? What's your thoughts?
I mean, there's still some thoughts and wonders about Christian Harris currently. That's unfortunate. I'm going to hold on to the belief that what we saw at the tail end of 2 years ago is what I'm hoping could come to fruition in a full season for him, with DeMeco Ryans being the tutelage, former linebackers coach. We saw just seemed like the light bulb clicked for Christian Harris 2 years ago. We saw a play where he was chasing down Lamar Jackson. You don't see linebackers just do that normally. There's athletic freakness ability there that a lot of your other linebackers don't currently have. And I like where Henry T has done with his progression and his improvements from last year. I'm a fan of Aziz, but to me, there's more of a concern that is not being talked about enough there with Christian Harris. I know DeMeco said that he'll be ready to roll for training camp. I was there for the public training camp, and I saw him when he was out ready to practice, and I tweeted out, awesome. Here's the little video footage of me showing Christian Harris his one snap at practice, and then I go back up to look, and I see him walking off with a trainer, and I'm going, what in the bleep happened? And then you never saw him again. And then when you did see him, the snaps started to decrease for him every single week since the Miami Dolphins game. And so there's a concern there for Christian Harris comparative to CJ. He's QB1. Any franchise is going to talk about this if this was their quarterback. CJ Stroud generates more clicks, more fan views, more traffic than anybody on this football team. It's no disrespect to nobody else. He's QB1. Like, this is the conversation that all 32 teams would be having if it was their QB1.
Absolutely. I just kind of compare Christian Harris to CJ Stroud because DeMeco and Nick Caserio both kind of gave the same story, right? Like Jeremy said, they're on progress. They're right where we want them. And then last, like you said, Harley, he came back to the Miami game, and I don't think he played one snap in the Kansas City playoff game. Am I wrong? Like, is this I get it. You want to be incognito with what's going on in your service area, but I mean, sometimes you just gotta say, hey, yeah, tendonitis. Hey, yeah, he had a little surgery, nothing to worry about. But yet here we go, kind of trying to be go gadget, Mr. Hide It All. Like it just doesn't work, right? Like Jeremy does that kind of hit the nail on the coffin?
I believe the Texans have a club philosophy of we don't discuss injuries unless they have to, right? If it's season ending during the year, DeMeco, yeah, he's done for the year. But anytime DeMeco gets asked a question, especially during the season, what's wrong with player XYZ. Well, we'll see where we land at the end of the week. And he's like that with everybody. I just believe that's a rule for the Texans. Like, we don't want leaks. We want information getting out. We want to be Fort Knox with our injury report and our information. And I don't really blame them for that. I think that that's wise. I think it's a good way of conducting business. If I were the GM or whoever, like a figurehead of the organization, I think I would do the same thing. Like, let's keep our information private. Like, why do you want that out there? So I don't mind the Texans doing that. I really don't. I think I would do the same thing. And then, look at the Astros. Like, the Astros, sometimes they'll talk too much. It's like, this is happening. This is the timeline. And then when he misses a timeline, what in the world is going on? And then also, they're not good at their jobs. It seems like. So I don't mind the Texans being quiet about it. And they have been consistent with, if we're not sharing injury news, you're just not going to have it, especially in the offseason when you're not required to. You're required to do the injury report in season, but even then they don't really address questions about it. I think the CJ Stroud thing eventually came to a narrative where, like, we better nip this in the bud. Like, people were starting to panic and people were thinking he's out for the year. And it's not that. Like, clearly he has something going on, but it's nothing serious. So let's go ahead and, put a blanket on this panic that is going on. At first, I don't know who leaked it to Aaron Wilson or how Aaron Wilson got his news. I think there's a decent chance the Texans leaked it to Aaron Wilson. Don't know that. But then Monday, D'Amico leads his press conference with it. I think that's notable, right? Like, he didn't get asked. He led his press conference with it before he even took a question. Hey, guys, this is what's going on with CJ Stroud. So what does that tell you? It tells you that it was a message that the team wanted to send to the fan base. So I think they saw the Stroud news get out. They kind of broke their philosophy of, we never talk about injuries, to kind of, hey, at ease, everybody. It's going to be okay. Yes, there's something, but it's not a big deal. Don't worry about it. And I'm okay with that. The Christian Harris thing, I agree with Harley. Like, that's frustrating. They don't really owe us an answer, I guess. It's more frustrating that we don't get to see him on the field. Because I agree with Harley. At the end of 2 seasons ago, I was like, man, is this guy a top 15, top 10 linebacker? Like, he's playing like that for the final month of the year. And then he doesn't play the whole year. And he can't see the field in the postseason. And I like Henry To'oTo'o. At his best, he's not close to Christian Harris at his best. And then on top of that, like, I don't think that they signed EJ Speed to be a depth piece. I mean, EJ Speed, go look how many tackles he had last year. He had like 130, 140, something like that. Like, that's not a backup linebacker. So that is a mysterious position for me. And really, Christian Harris mysterious too. And I think he's in the final year of his contract. So that's something too. That's like, okay, this might be the final year of Christian Harris, and he might not be a starter. So it's a big year for him, really. I mean, it's a bigger year for him than the Texans. I think the Texans can survive without him. But Christian Harris has to put good stuff on film if he wants a decent second contract, either from the Texans or somewhere else.
And that's usually how it goes, right? Especially for the Texans. They have a big year, their contract year, and either the Texans overpay or somebody else snags a good player like Jonathan Gennard in Minnesota. But yeah, I have to agree with both of you, because that Baltimore game in the playoffs, we had Lamar Jackson pretty much dead to rights. Like, he was spying the quarterback, he was not making the plays, and then second half, Harris goes down, and that's when the Lamar Jackson, we know, this tore us apart. And then the game that we all want to forget, Christmas Day last year, there was no spy at all, and I think he's still running touchdowns on us right as we speak. Like, he just destroyed us. So yeah, I kind of in the same boat as you, Jeremy. I think the EJ Speed signing is a what if he's not there? What if that injury is still nagging, still around? Harley, how concerned are you on Christian Harris' point?
I'm more concerned about him than I am. Well, I mean, they did, to Branham's point, it did sign EJ Speed. So I guess it's not as concerning, since you do have some linebackers there. They usually play 2 linebackers anyway. Jalen Petrie kind of filling in that other role as the hybrid star role, whatever you want to call it, from his days at Baylor with oh man, I'm forgetting his name at the head coach there. But regardless, there's still some concern for me. I can't forget what he did at the tail end 2 years ago, even the Browns game with the pick six. I mean, I remember being in a chat with Colts fans, and they're week 18, they're going, who is this 48? I don't remember this guy the first time. Oh, hey guys, by the way, that's Christian Harris. That's our dog we just let out loose. All right. And he has just been amazing for the second half of that late season. I'm concerned about it. But I do like that there are some answers, kind of like this whole defense. There's some answers. If someone went down, there's answers on this defense. Oh, okay. D-line, someone goes down a few games. Yeah, no problem, buddy. There's Derek Barnett right there. Oh, and by the way, we got Darrell Taylor who had 9.5 sacks 2 years ago with the Seattle Seahawks. Yeah, he could go in and fill in for a few snaps. No problem. Okay, the secondary, you could say that you don't really want to have Stingley or Lassiter miss some games. But I would still say the Texans are confident with the rookie Jalen Smith. They re-signed Miles Bryant recently. Their outside depth is a little concerning for me. But I think overall, they have answers everywhere amongst this defense if there's any sort of knick-knack injuries that come up along the way, as usually the NFL season happens.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. During with this draft, that's kind of like what it seemed Nick Cassier and D'Amico Ryans was doing, right? Like it was planning for A, B, C, D, E, F, whatever, right? If Nico Collins, God forbid, goes down, you get Jaden Higgins. Christian Kirk goes down, you got Noel there. Just like Harley said, if Jalen Petrie or Lasser, one of those type, because Jalen Smith can play the Petrie role or the Lasser role. So it seems like they're playing for A, B, C, D, E. Does that draft kind of look the same for you, or did you see it different?
Nick Caserio would argue with you. He would say he doesn't draft by need. So if we believe that GM speak, then yes. I mean, I think that Nick Caserio has some fun with the media time. I like Nick Caserio for what it's worth. I think he's a really good general manager. I like Nick. I'm glad that he is running the Houston Texans roster. I like to make fun of him at times. I don't draft by need. I don't even know what drafting by need is, he said. He's been watching sports his whole life, and he doesn't know what drafting by need is. I call BS there, Nick. It was a few years ago. He goes, I don't know what a window is. He was asked about, like, what's the Texans? I don't know what a window. Okay, Nick. We know you know what a window is. Stop talking to us like that. But I am a big fan of Nick. I think he does a really good job with the roster. I think the Texans are in a really good spot. Whether it was by design or not, if it was just drafting the best player available, I do agree with that. Because to Harley's point, I really like the depth. Now, more so defensively than offensively, probably. But I think the skill positions have depth. And like you were mentioning, like, okay, like I really like Higgins. I think Higgins can do both. And I'm interested to see what this offense looks like with Caley and how he uses his receivers. Like, is he going to be locked into the idea where this guy's a boundary, this guy's a slot? I doubt it. But I like Higgins quite a bit. I think Higgins can play. I watch a lot of Big 12 football. I was really impressed with Higgins. I was really impressed with Noel. And it feels like, okay, if you just take the top two receivers on the Texans today, Nico Collins, Christian Kirk, and then it feels like they found a replica for both guys. Who's the Nico Collins replica? Jaden Higgins. Who's the Christian Kirk replica? It's Jalen Noel. So I don't know if he did it by design. I don't know if it was best player available type of deal. And also how the draft board falls to you matters here. But no, I liked his draft. I think that this team needed weapons. I think it needed depth. There's two ways to help out a quarterback. You can help out a quarterback by protecting, or you can help out a quarterback by finding a bunch of skill and a bunch of talent. That way you can get rid of the football quicker because those guys are open quicker. And I do think that you can scheme up, protection a little bit better as well. I think that's one thing that Slowick was not great at. Like, he was pot committed. We need explosive plays. Okay, well, explosive plays take longer to develop, and you don't have an offensive line that can create that time. So I like the draft. I like Woody Marks. I'm very curious to see what he looks like. I think the Texans were in desperate need of a third down running back last year. They tried to use Dari there, but I think he was kind of, he's like him on special teams. I don't think he's a great third down running back. You guys brought up Jalen Smith. Curious to see what he looks like, but I mean, right now he's a depth piece. He's backup nickel. He's backup outside corner. D'Amico mentioned on Monday too that because Ronald Darby retired, that they will be looking for another veteran corner. So. No, I like this roster a lot. I was at that point. It's kind of cemented some depth on the 2 deep for the Texans for sure.
Yeah, and I have to agree with the Willie Marks. I didn't know this until I did some research. For receptions as a sophomore and running back at the running back position. I mean, 84 for a receiver as a running back.
I think it is a little skewed. It's a little skewed. Now, I do like Woody Marks as a receiving back a lot. I think he is a good pass catcher. But that was under Mike Leach. And Mike Leach throws the ball 100 times a game. And he loves to throw to his running back. So, it's a little skewed. I still think Woody Marks is a really good receiving back. But that number can be a little out of whack because Leach, of course, used to throw the ball all over the park, which is great to watch him, scheme up the offense.
And I saw an NFL comparison that it really didn't hit me until I saw it. He reminds me of a Kevin Falk for the Patriots way back in the day. A good third down back, and if they need for receiving, there you go.
Yeah,
I mean, kind of similar to the playing style. But if we get Kevin Falk numbers out of him,
oh yeah,
especially the Super Bowl wins, right? That's what matters. I'll take that either day. Hardy, what was your thoughts on the graph?
I'm a big fan of Woody Marks. Besides him being 24 years old, I think that was like a con of mine as well. That he was one of the older running backs that you did get in a slew of running backs that I would have double dipped. Because the running back class was that great, I would have even double dipped. I don't think there's never enough running backs. I don't think you should be afraid to take running backs either. And I mean, you just never know, man, with running backs when that time just stops for them, when the clock ends for them at times. I like Woody Marks. I've made the argument on my YouTube channel that was it a Nick Caley pick? And the reason why is because the numbers he had at USC, despite Mike Leach being the guy there, are very similar to that of another former Patriot that I comped him to in James White. When James White was a guy that just, oh my goodness, numbers were crazy for James White. I mean, you're looking at a guy that had over 100 targets as a running back. Now, yes, a lot of them were dump offs, and that was the running joke with Tom Brady, was the dump off king. But a lot of them were the James White, but there was many other factors that come into play here. Jerry Shuplinski was on that staff. Nick Caley was on that staff. Cole Popovich was on that staff. And Nick Casario was the front office guy there. So it makes me wonder how much of a say did Nick Caley, and we've heard Nick Casario and say that he takes, how much does he take influence from everyone else because he's the guy making the decision. But regardless, him saying that made me think, maybe Nick Caley had a little more influence here with Woody Marks than we might have to take a look a little bit more into. So I like what he is, a 4.54, 5'10", 207. So we'll see. We'll see when it comes to him. I'm hoping more, and it kind of worries me that Dameon Pierce not out there, and we haven't really got anything from Dameon Pierce. What's his injury? What's going on there? Whereas Joe Mixon, he has a walking boot rumors, and now it's like, oh well, we're not very concerned about him either. He's just fine. Another precaution, and I'm like, okay, well. We'll see. June 7th is supposed to be a youth football camp for Joe Mixon along with CJ Stroud. I'm kind of curious to see what happens there, is who will be taking pictures and videos and what's going on. Will Joe Mixon show up in a walking boot? There's there is a lot to dissect there if they're allowing media to cover. And if I'm the Texans, I don't think I would want the media to cover that youth football camp, but wink, wink there. The rest of the guys, Jalen Smith, I like Jaden Reed out of Penn State. Oh, man, I was a big fan of his when I saw that the Texans met with him during I want to say it was a combine. And I started looking at him more in depth, and I was like, oh, this guy, I mean, he could play everywhere you want, and especially in the box. And I found that very interesting that Jalen Smith at OTA or rookie minicamp, he was working, and I don't know who specifically he was working with, but the way he was working out reminded me of last year when they were working out with Jalen Petrie specifically and had him just alone with Corey Unlin over there. And hey, this is what you're doing. This is your role. This is how we're going to work you out. I looked at Jalen Smith and I'm like, he's just by himself over there. Then I see Jaden Reed join over there with him later. And it kind of made me go, okay. So we're looking at specific Jalen Petrie backups roles here. Jimmy Ward's up in age, kind of got to know, even though he filled it in successfully, he gets injured. It's unfortunate. But when he's on the field, he's pretty solid. But it is what it is there. I like this draft. O-line, yeah, there's some beef there from fans that they should have took another offensive lineman. But I think how this draft board played out, I'm not trying to sound like too much of a homer or anything, but I think it pretty much played pretty good for the Texans there. There's a lot of P's there right there, but and I don't like how that came out. Played pretty good. But whatever, regardless, you get the point.
Yeah, definitely. The thing I keep telling people outside of the Houston sports area is CJ Stroud had his best year, and the Texans had a 13th overall ranking offensive line when we had an offensive line like we do now. Just a makeshift of guys from everywhere. Like they weren't the best, they weren't the worst, or the kind of and that's what it kind of looked like. And again, I Jeremy, you kind of brought it up. We got a new offensive coordinator in Nick Caley, who hopefully can adjust during the game. Unlike Bobby Slowick. Like, look, if you put Dalton Schultz out there 3 times and he lets George Karlaftis sack C.J. Stroud 3 times, there's a problem there. So to me, it seems like the scheming has a lot to do and the the in-call adjustments. What's your thoughts on offensive line, Jeremy?
I mean, it's a lot of unknown, right? I mean, it's educated guesses at this point. There's a lot of great offensive-minded coaches who thinks that sacks are a quarterback stat. That put all the sacks on a quarterback. Sean Payton says that. Sean Payton says that sacks allowed is a quarterback stat. And he's probably being a bit hyperbolic there. I think that they all come into play, obviously. I mean, more time to throw, less sacks. I mean, we could do the math there. But I'm with you. Like, why was the offensive line 2 years ago better than last year's offensive line? It wasn't because it was more talented. Not even close. If you just took all the starters from last year, like all the guys who started, and then you see how many games they started, and then you compared that to the 2023 offensive line, you'd be like, yeah, 2024 offensive line is at least 3 times better than the 23 offensive line. But it wasn't. Why? Probably cohesion. I think Slowick had a better year as a play caller. I don't know if that's because the NFL caught up to him or they figured out some tells or whatever. Or maybe it was offensive line personnel was just really bad at like picking up things as simple as stunts. CJ Stroud didn't have a whole lot of authority at the offensive line, any authority, I think. So if you're looking at it from an optimistic point of view, offensive line's gonna be better because it's cohesive and they have a better culture and they're gonna work together better. And then Nick Caley's gonna be way better at protecting the quarterback than Bobby Slowick was. We don't know that to be true. I think it's a safe bet. We've never seen Nick Caley call an offensive game in the NFL. But I was so frustrated with Bobby Slowick last year. Like, it's simple things that they couldn't fix. So I think by default, you will get better from a play caller point of view. I think the attitude and stuff actually does matter. I think it will be a more cohesive unit. I don't think this offensive line like has a top 10 ceiling. I don't think they can be a top 10 offensive line in the NFL. But can they be top 15-ish? And that's good enough because you have enough skill and a good quarterback behind it? It's possible. I think it is in play. So I'm more optimistic about the offensive line than I think like the average sentiment is in the city.
We don't even need like a top 15, right? Like if in the middle of the pack, right? Like just get where CJ gets the ball off, and like Harley said, Cole Popovich, Nick Caley, Nick Casario, they're all there that New England era. I'm okay with Joe Mixon, Woody Marks, if Damian Pierce finally stays healthy. Damian Pierce catching the ball out of the backfield, as long as it keeps my quarterback upright and moving the ball. It seemed like last year, it seemed like we didn't move the ball often, especially in the second half. We didn't move the ball at all, and that's what kind of irritated me with Bobby Slowick was it was kind of like a Nick Casario, like you were talking about Nick Casario. He said no team adjust in the second half. Are you kidding me? Like, have you never watched a football game? Like, you really? Come on, man. Like, you can't be that. Come on. So it's just little things like that. So I think if the scheming and like I said, if he can adjust in game, because if you look where all these coaches came from, Kyle Shanahan, John McVay, Bill Belichick, they all are great at one thing, and that's adjusting mid game. So if we can learn that from them, the ceiling's the limit, right? Like we can't go out there and put Cade Stover against Jonathan Grenard. That's just a recipe for a disaster. Like you just gotta, that's what happens. Okay, let's not do that again. But yet they keep doing it. It's the definition of insanity. Like you're not going to get a different result. And that's the same thing with the quarterback toss. Or the halfback toss. I hated that play. Yes, it got some big runs, but it got a lot of bad runs too. And I just can't stand that in the jet sweeps. I don't understand the fascination with the jet sweep. But hopefully it's a new era. And but the one thing I like from Nick Caley when he first came around, they were asking, was it going to be the New England offense or is it going to be the Los Angeles Rams offense? He said, no, it's going to be the Houston offense. And to me, it gives it a different mentality. Harder, you kind of agree?
Yeah, for sure. The O line, there's concerns. I mean, we can fluff it up all we want, but on paper, it doesn't seem very great, and to put it lightly. and I can understand the national media perspective. They're going, man, this team had was 52 sacks allowed, second worst. Luckily, we were head and shoulders below the 68 from the Chicago Bears. My goodness. But I mean, 52 sacks allowed is horrible. And the national media went, wait, that just happened and you traded away Laramie Tunsil? I can get why they kind of poo-pooed on the Texans. Like, oh, look at this team. What are they doing? Like I get it. I understand that. If you're not here locally, you won't understand some of the stuff that's going on. And that's every team, you don't know what's going on with other circumstances and everything that was going on. Hell, everyone crapped on the Bills for trading away Stephon Diggs last year. And then they had some guy named Khalil Shakir come in and have some really good production for them. So we'll see how the O-line goes. D'Amico talked about them having a different mindset recently, just yesterday. I hope so. A lot of it is just, yeah, man, I'm happy that, okay, maybe they can continue to do something more. But, this is all just speak and this is tongue in cheek. At the end of the day, it's a results-driven league. And the O-line on paper doesn't look great, but I'm hoping that with the influx of Nick Caley, with the influx of Cole Popovich, something Devin McCourty, former New England Patriot, talked about with Chris Sims, and he talked about Josh McDaniels, two guys that worked with Josh McDaniels that I just mentioned there, and said that how they were aware and they had a plan when they had a shuffling offensive line in one of the years, can't remember specifically. But he talked about a shuffling offensive line, and they were aware. They had a plan. They knew if there was a stunt, this is what's going to happen. If this happens, these defensive protection sets or whatever's going on that's coming after us, this is what we're going to do. And they did hell, they did great, right? And, it helps that you have Tom Brady and, dump offs and other options as well, too. But, an extension of the run game to get the ball out quicker for CJ Stroud could be utilizing a running back like Woody Marks, maybe using Joe Mixon more as a receiver. One of the best screen receiving running backs last year, going into last year. And this previous year, we used a lot of screens, and some of them actually kind of effective. It's quite odd stat for the Texans, but it didn't feel very effective on the eyeball test. So the O-line has worries. I'm concerned about it. Look, they're going to get tested week 1. They're facing the Rams, and they're not a defense to scoff at. They're not crazy, but Kobe Turner, Jared Verse, Braden Fisk, I'm missing another one, Byron Young. I mean, all them guys had at least 8 sacks, I want to say, on the year, besides Verse. Verse had like 4.5, but he's a promising rookie that is up there. And your tackles are going to get tested immediately. The Rams know Nick Caley. Nick Caley knows the Rams. It's a very interesting week 1 mindset there.
Yeah, and I agree to 100%. But also what the national media forgets too is, Texans faced 3rd and more than 8 172 times last year. First in the NFL. Second place was, I think, the Buccaneers at 93. 172 and 93. That's a huge drop off. Like, that's a major drop off. And the one guy that was good on the offensive line was to blame for that. I mean, Jeremy Branham was great, but he had a lot of penalties. So I get that too. When you play 3rd and 8, everybody knows what's coming, right? It's gonna be a pass. So what's gonna happen? You're gonna blitz, you're gonna stunt, and you're gonna get sacked. So there's a lot of numbers driven for bad play calling. And so hopefully we can fix that. Jeremy, what
these
you
are
got on
great
that?
points. I can't remember the player, like back in the day. It was a baseball player. I want to say Ralph Kiner with the Pirates. And the Pirates are terrible. They were terrible. But Ralph Kiner was their best player, and he 40 home runs, all this stuff. But they were losing 100 games a year, and I think they traded him or something. And the media's like, "Why did you trade your best player?" He's like, "Well, we were losing 100 games with him. We can lose 100 games without him too." It's kind of the same thing with Tunsil and the sacks. We gave up 50-something sacks with Laramie Tunsil. We can give up 50-something with him. I don't think they'll be anywhere near that. And like the 3rd and 8 stuff, yes, a lot of that does fall on Tunsil's shoulders with the pre-snap penalties. I think Tunsil's a really good player, great player even, once the ball is snapped. Pre-snap, maybe one of the worst pre-snap. So 3rd and longs is not a spot you want to be in. But also, I think you point to the offensive coordinator more than anything. Like 3rd and 8, that many times, that's almost double the nearest one to. That's unacceptable. That is way too much. And that's pre-snap penalty, but it's also putting yourself behind the chains as an offensive coordinator. And that's where I go back to Slowick and the explosive play. I think Slowick fell in love with the explosive play, and he fell in love with the early down runs that were getting him nothing. I think that Harley makes a lot of good points there. And yeah, he's right. The offensive line has some questions. I just don't think it could be worse. And if it can't be worse, that means it's an improvement. And I think that's overall good for the offensive line. I think they'll be more productive across the board. I think they'll be more productive from a protection standpoint. I think they'll be better schemed from an offensive line standpoint. And I think they have more skill offensively than they had last year.
And I saw another crazy stat. Joe Mixon was hit like 51.6% every snap behind the line. And he still did what he did, getting hit that much. So, if we can fix the run game too, the not just the run game, but the blocking. The run game's great. But we can fix the blocking, that just helps out the passing game even more, right? Like you're not one-dimensional.
And it doesn't have to be way better, right? Like, no one's saying they need to be best in the NFL. Like, they won a bunch of games last year with an offensive line that was a hindrance. Just don't be a hindrance. Be league average. And I think that this team has a chance. I really do like the way this team has come together.
Well, and you got to think about too. It's another year for D'Amico Ryans to grow too, right? Because last year, I mean, you can go back to the Green Bay game. We should have won that game, but we played for the clock and we lost. And then you go back to the Detroit Lions game. You pick off Jared Goff 5 times, and you play for the clock, and you lose.
Yeah.
So it's another time to kind of understand. Okay, we need to play for the win, and let's get the W instead of let's quit grinding out the clock. Hopefully, right?
I think that's a defensive-minded coach, though, right? Like,
I get it.
Yeah,
you know.
I like D'Amico a lot. Like,
I think he's our forever coach. I'm just saying one more year for him to grow.
Sure. I wonder if he makes strides in that, because if it's a nitpick and it's a critique, but D'Amico, like if it's just a sliding scale, like we all played NCAA back in the day, right? Like 100% pass, 0% run. Mm-hmm. Like if we did that with D'Amico Ryans, like where is he at on the aggressive conservative bar? I mean, he's way closer to conservative than he is aggressive. Mm-hmm. Right. And look, maybe that doesn't matter at all. Maybe being conservative all the way and aggressive all the way is the same amount of wins. But his tendency is conservative.
Right. And you just go back. I mean, this defense was what, top 5, maybe top 3. So just another year of him getting this defense ready. And look, to me, and I could be the only man on this hill, but I'm going to fight on it. That Kansas City Chief game left a bad taste in his mouth. Because I mean, let's be honest, or at least for me, I thought Bobby Sloak was going to be 3rd-year offensive coordinator. Guys 10 wins, guys back to the same where we were. Like we're going to keep it going, and out of nowhere, he's gone, and that's his boy. Like they came together from San Francisco. That's the guy he brought here. Like so, nobody thought that was going to happen.
Yeah.
And then after the Kansas City game, it was like, goodbye Larry Tunsil, goodbye Shaq Mason. Like, it's a whole new revamp of this offensive line in the play calling. I mean, is that just me, or do y'all see that as well?
I'll say this. I think that I thought initially he was going to keep Bobby Slowick, especially with the big game against the Chargers. And then a subpar game against the Chiefs, but you got to remember you were only 1 point down against Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. And I thought he was going to keep Bobby Slowick. And the reason why is, and there was the growing thing on Twitter that, D'Amico Ryans has a loyalty card to him. And I think I was one of the ones that believed in that loyalty card because he came from the Kubiak tree. And I remember Gary Kubiak's time here. And I remember there was Frank Bush, defensive coordinator, that stayed here far too long than he should have. You had Rick Dennison, offensive coordinator here, that a lot of people were like, Kubiak, please take over the play calling. We're tired of seeing Rick Dennison take these play calls as OC. And thankfully, finally, it took, I forgot what it was specifically that took Kubiak to finally change that way. But, I thought there was a similarity there between both guys. So that's why I thought there was a loyalty card that, he could have kept Bobby Slowick a little bit longer than what we thought. So I'm happy he's gone. I can, as a biased Cougar fan, I was upset at the utilization of Tank Dell in the first 4 weeks of the season, and he did not know how to utilize 3 wide receivers in Nico Collins, Stephon Diggs, and Tank Dell. It's more of the same. It's like the past where you had Jadeveon Clowney, Whitney Merciless, and J.J. Watt. Now, injuries affected that, but you never got a good utilization of all 3 of them guys. Go ahead, Branham.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. And that's part of the reason that I've liked what I've heard from Kaylee. Like, I don't make judgments based on what you say in a press conference.
Right.
Like, I couldn't care less. If you're the world's worst person in a press conference, but you're the world's best play caller, give me that guy. Like, I don't need to be impressed in a press conference for me to like them. But saying that, what I like, going back to your point about Nick Caley, is that I liked what he said about we're not the Patriots offense, we're not the Rams offense, we're the Texans offense. But the other thing I really liked what he said is we're going to be good at what we're good at. Like, we're going to be good based on our personnel. Like, one year it might be 11 personnel. Maybe the next year it's 12 personnel. I think that speaks to Harley's point. Like, I think Slowick was kind of I used to call him binary Bobby, which I don't know if I can get away with, but he was so like blinders on. This is the way I do things, and had a tough time going outside of that. So when they gave him a roster where he wasn't, at his best, that's why we saw the regression. Because I like Bobby Slowick after year one. How could you not? Like I was a fan of his after year one. I agree with you too that I thought they were keeping Slowick. I thought, yeah, there's no way that D'Amico is going to fire his boy. No chance, right? But I think D'Amico saw what we all saw. You guys mentioned some of the numbers there. The NFL's worst at 3rd and 8 and longer. You can't ignore that. You can't ignore 50-something sacks. You can't ignore that stuff. And ultimately, it is a results-based business, like Harley was saying. And if you're going to be long in the league as a head coach and you want to win at the highest level, I'm sorry, but you can't be friends with everybody. And look, I'm sure that they'll be able to be friendly, and I'm sure they'll be friends down the road. Maybe not today, but you have to make tough decisions. And that's something that I wondered with D'Amico, because he is a great guy. Like, I love D'Amico. Like, D'Amico is a guy that I kind of like look up to. Like, this guy he leads, he's a man of God, tremendous family guy. I think he has incredible discipline, standards. Like, I love D'Amico. I really do. My fear was because he has all of those values that he was going to value friendship over what is best for the team. So that in another completely different spectrum made me happy, because I was like, it's time to move on from Slowick, but I wonder when it's time to make difficult decisions, what D'Amico looks like in that scenario. And he did it. So I tip my cap to that. He put team first. He put team over himself. And like he says that's what he always does. And I think he proved it there.
Right. And to kind of go back to the national media versus the Texans. And look, I'm not saying like they don't have a leg to stand on, because they do. When it comes to this offensive line, absolutely. But how many times did we see CJ Stroud get hit out of bounds, get hit late, or something that you don't want to happen to your quarterback? And we saw Jeremy Tunsil with his hands on the hips, Tyson Howard looking somewhere else. Right. No, you're not protecting the quarterback after plays. Like, if you hit the quarterback out of bounds, I want to see a fight. Like 2 years ago, who was it? Singleton from the Broncos, or whatever, for the Broncos. Right. Where's that?
You're getting me in trouble, Chef. I blasted Jeremy Tunsil whenever this happened, and Titus Howard was in my comments telling me I was an idiot. Like, and all the Texans fans were mad at me that I said that Jeremy Tunsil was the only offensive lineman on the field that didn't go help his quarterback. I don't think it was the Singleton hit. It might have been. Actually, it might have been. I remember it was during that game. I don't remember if it was during – what's that?
It was, because I remember Tunsil was at the very far.
Yeah.
And I remember you highlighted that specifically.
Yeah.
And you were like, why didn't he? Everyone else did.
I knew it was that game. I couldn't remember if it was the scrum or if it was like a play or two before or after, but whatever. And like everybody, well, how could you blast Tunsil? Blah, blah, blah. I was like, well, how about the other offensive linemen? Like, don't listen to me. Like, why would you? Don't listen. I'm a jabroni. I don't know anything. Like, don't listen to me. Why are the other 4 offensive linemen going to him and one is not? Don't listen to me. Don't listen to my tweet. Don't get on to me. But why are 4 offensive linemen going to help him up and one is not? Ask yourself that. And that was always, he's too far from the play. Well, he would have traveled less than I think it was Juice Scruggs, who was 10 yards ahead of him. Well, he didn't see it. Okay, well, there's a picture of him seeing
it. He was on the ground.
Yeah, it was that.
Yeah, he was on the ground.
That kind of triggers me. I get flashbacks there, Chef.
I agree with you. I was one of your defenders, because you were right. Like, and it happened last year many times. The Chiefs game, the Packers game. Like, there's been many times where CJ got hit out of the bounds, and the Cowboys game. Like, if you're going to protect CJ against any team, it should be the Cowboys or the Titans. Like, that's 2 teams that you shouldn't let disrespect the Texans play.
I don't think he's a bad teammate either.
It doesn't seem like
I don't think he's a bad locker room guy. He's not the mentality and the dog you want from one of your 5 offensive linemen.
D'Amico has the swarm mentality, and he just does not fit.
How'd y'all feel about him with the autographed cleats? Posting that right after they got embarrassed.
Oh boy.
Mentality. Well, that's a position where you have to have mentality.
Well, by the way,
what made me fall off?
OTAs Commanders?
Go ahead.
I doubt it. I don't know.
No,
That's
of
a good
course
question.
not. Of course not. He's
He
I
wasn't.
already
Wasn't
know
you
he's
know that
not.
for sure?
Oh yes, I know for sure he's not there.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of odd. He has like a football camp with Charles Omenihu with the Divine Tree that he works with. It's like one of his things that Laramie Tunsil has called the Divine Tree. It's him, Charles Omenihu, and then I believe I forgot what rapper it was. Oh man, I can't think of the name right now. But there was a rapper that's going to be there too at this youth football camp that's going to help them, and it just looked very odd, the cast of characters, considering Charles Omenihu's time here, Laramie Tunsil's time here, and
is this their first one?
I have no clue. I feel like it is.
Remember Omenihu blast the Texans last year?
Oh yeah, I know he did. Never been a fan. I've never been a fan of Omenihu. I have some fun personal beef. Me and him have gone way back from when he was with a Texan. There was a play against the Kansas City Chiefs. I'll say it. There was a play against Kansas City Chiefs. Was it the playoff game? No, it was the first game of the season. And after that playoff game where you dropped everything against them in the second half, we'll go into the second half and then the second half. That first play of the first season game of the season that year, you played the Chiefs on national television. I believe it was Thursday Night Football or Sunday Night Football or something like that. And Charles Omenihu, there was clips of him. I just remember he did not have a good game specifically. And his ass was in the dirt many times. And I remember I clipped, I'm like, Omenihu, buddy, like you got to be the one to help. It is gonna. I knew it was gonna. I was gonna say it was gonna. I kept thinking future, but I was like, no, it's gonna. Anyway, and Omenihu immediately just did a stray tweet of, oh, we got goofies on this app that don't know football.
No.
And I was like, well, if you're gonna at me, go ahead and at me, buddy. And then he did, and he quote tweeted, screenshotted my tweet of calling, showing the clips of those. And then I was like, I don't know if I'm a goofy or not, buddy, but I see ass in the dirt, and I know that film room isn't looking good for you. And he ended up messaging me. My goodness, he was hurt. He was hurt.
Well, you know what? You hit him where it hurt. He probably heard that from his staff while they're watching film.
Well,
you get out of there.
Knowing his work ethic at the University of Texas, from what I heard, it wasn't. There's some questionable stuff there. So,
well, and, going back to the Tunsil, I agree with you, Jeremy. He's a great left tackle. He's a great. He's a good teammate to an extent. Where I fell off with him was the Vikings game when they missed the penalties.
Yeah,
and you wear that C, you can't blame on everybody else. You got to take accountability for yourself. And he's like, well, I did my job. Come on, man. Like, really? That's how you're gonna play this? Like, I did my job, but it's everybody else. Like, come on, dude. And to me, it's just a boring point of the whole season. And I agree with you. D'Amico said, hey, this is it. See you later. Adios. And we got some good picks out of it.
I think they did good. Yeah.
Without that, I don't think we get, the Jaden Noel or the Higgins trade. Like it doesn't fall to us. So thank you, Laramie. But again, that's a guy that D'Amico was inherited. It wasn't his guy. And sadly, we traded away the farm for him. So, he kind of had he had to ride the roost with him for a little bit.
Sure.
So I get it, but thank you for your service. But time to see.
Oh, we're done.
Hopefully,
okay. I didn't realize. Yeah, it snuck up on me.
No, I'll talk about.
Goodbye
to Laramie.
My bad.
Yeah.
Jeremy ready to leave.
But before we do let you go, Crenshaw got the question for you.
What's wrong with the spotless lineup? Well, didn't score any runs today, so we can start there. A lot today.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not healthy, not hitting the ball. That's what's wrong with the lineup. Well, Jeremy. Yeah. Jeremy, before we go, is there any more concerns that we did not touch on with the Texans OTA.
I think we hit him, right? Well, long snapper. I mean, how are you going to replace the big shoes of John Weeks?
Right.
Shout
The
out to
legend.
Tucker.
The ring of
The
honor
man,
the
the
moment
myth,
he
the legend.
retires. So that's a concern. No, I think, yeah, I like where this team is at. I mean, I know I mock them a lot because it's fun, but offensive line's the biggest position group that you need to look at. I think there's reason for optimism there. But at Harley's point, like on paper, it's I wanted to say average at best, but maybe below average at best on paper. Like you can always outproduce what you're doing on paper. And I've been having fun with the CJ Stroud thing. I believed him. I don't think it's serious. I think he'll be thrown by training camp. No big deal. But it is something that I'm watching. I don't think this story doesn't go away until he throws a football. We all realize that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a story until he throws.
I'm one of the people that you called out on TikTok and all that. One of those. It's only June. I am one of those people.
It is only June.
It's
only
June.
a shoulder for your quarterback who throws. Like if it was an ankle sprain, no big deal. But I mean, it's a shoulder.
Right.
Shoulders are.
I like I said, I believe it when I see it. Hopefully, when he's not throwing in training camp, then I'm like, okay.
No, that's the deadline
button.
for sure. Like no one needs to hit a panic button until it's training camp and he's not throwing. At that point, then we all panic.
Good Lord.
Absolutely. Harley, do you have any concerns that we didn't?
No, not necessarily. I mean, the two talking points are CJ and the O-line. We've hit the nail on both of those. I mean, we've talked draft, we've talked everything there is. I'm hoping that conversation for CJ is done with by training camp. I'm hoping so for all of our sake, because then it starts getting to, okay, well, is he going to play the first preseason game? Is he going to play the second preseason game? Is he going to play the third preseason game? Okay, how's week one looking like? How's the timetable there? There's going to be so much conversation there, and the national media now has grabbed the story. So, buddy, in a world where football is dead right now in June and July, I'd hate to see the national media try to grab more of this. I really would. And the Texans don't want that either. So I'm hoping, and I'm going to lean into with Jeremy here. I'm going to hope that they are right and that this is a minor shoulder injury. Who knows? Maybe the speculation from anybody, I don't know. My speculation, maybe he had a little shoulder cleanup, maybe he had a little cleanup. Who knows? It's all right. I mean, he can still do this. He can still move his arm.
Still shoot
him
threes.
shooting hoops, as the one comment said. So, we'll see. Right now, I'm at like a 2 on the panic meter. I'm concerned, yes. I'm aware of it, and I'm monitoring the situation. But I'm not nowhere, panicking yet. Until we get to. I'm very curious at that youth football camp. I'm very curious to see if PR is there, because there's a whole lot to dissect there with both of them guys. And I'm just curious there. So, but June 10th, June 11th, we're gonna have mandatory minicamp for the Houston Texans. So, if he's still not throwing by then, when we've heard rumored that he should be back next week. Well, next week is mandatory minicamp. If he's still not throwing. All right, guys. This isn't looking so hot now, and that's when I'll start getting a little bit more on the 4 or 5 worry meter now.
Yeah, and they got him in the helmet, practicing. I know he's not doing much, but I just think if it's that serious, I don't think they have him out there in the helmet trotting around. You know what I mean?
Same.
Like, so I agree with Jeremy. I don't think it's as worrisome as people think it is. I'm kind of like you heard. I'm a 1.8 to almost 2 on the panic meter. Like I'm almost there, but I got to see it with my eyes. Like you said, come training camp, not throwing the ball. Okay, then it's all right. What's really going on? What's the real story? Like, quit this nonsense of they're at the progression where we want them to be. Like, you need to tell me the truth. What's going on here, boss? All right. So, guys, this is the worst part is the end, like Crenshaw always says. But Jeremy, before I let you go, I always see on your TikTok when you go to different places for U of H sporting events and whatnot, you eat the burger. You go to burger places. You gotta tell me, what is the best burger you had? Is it outside of Houston, or is it right
No.
there local?
No, Houston has the best burgers. I think Houston has the best food. You might be able to find like specific genres that are better. Like, I mean, if you want like good Cajun cooking or Creole cooking, like it's tough to beat New Orleans and the New Orleans area. But overall, I mean, Houston has the best barbecue. They have the best Tex-Mex. I think there's 10 better cheeseburger places than anything I've had outside of Houston. No, I haven't had a better burger outside of Houston than in Houston.
Yeah, I agree with you. I live up here in the Kansas City area, and
Oh,
that's
okay.
all I hear them is complain. Oh, Kansas City barbecue is the best.
Yeah. It's just
Not
different.
even- it's
I
not
like
top
Kansas
three.
City barbecue. Like, give me Kansas City barbecue over Carolina barbecue or Memphis barbecue. I think Kansas City has the second best barbecue, but it's not better
Yeah,
than
I'm a
Texas
Memphis
barbecue.
guy. I like
Are
a
you?
little spice. I'm a Memphis guy, so
Okay.
I got KC maybe fourth. So
Wow.
yeah,
Fourth?
I just think they're too sauce driven. I think a
That's
good
true.
barbecue. I don't think it needs sauce, and I just think they're just too saucy.
That's why I love Texas barbecue. I mean, you get good
Try it.
barbecue, you don't need any sauce.
No, just a good rub. Just rub it down. That's all you need. You got
Yeah.
the right rub. That's all you need. So
Something about
it's steady.
Something about that tanginess in Carolina barbecue. I like
Oh,
that.
you see, I don't like the tanginess. That's interesting.
I feel you, Harley. I got you. I'm with you too. I like that.
Because they do a lot of mustard-based barbecue sauces there in Carolina. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm in the minority with Carolina barbecue, I guess.
not gonna lie.
What about you, Harley? Best burgers in Houston?
Oh man. We work over there near the Galleria. We have two in our building that are fantastic. Clutch City Burgers, which is in like the conservatory near the Galleria.
Yeah.
That place is awesome. Burger Chan is right underneath our studio. That place is awesome. There's some local places that I really like. I forget there's a place near where I live. I forget the name. It's got like a weird name. And it's like in a dive bar. They have unbelievable burgers. I've heard JLB burgers are fantastic, but I haven't tried it yet. That's something I'm going to do this summer. I haven't done the Bun B burger yet either, which I need to try. But Langford's Grocer, which is like a big pancake. I don't know if you have tried that. That place is really good. I'm missing half a dozen off the top of my head. J Bar M does like a really good brisket burger.
Yeah. Shout out to J Bar.
Don't sleep on that.
Mm.
No, there's so many.
Anything brisket is already the winner, right? Anything brisket.
Yeah, it's different, right?
You want
It's different. Hey, I like a good fast food burger too. Culver's. Don't sleep on Culver's. Culver's has the best fast food cheeseburger in the game.
Never had.
There's not many
in
of them.
Texas.
There's 3 in Houston.
Really?
Yeah, there's one in Kingwood.
They're building a whole bunch of them around me.
Yeah, there's a
Talking
bunch
Houston
in Kansas City,
or-
right?
Or the outskirts of Houston.
Yeah, they're on the outskirts. I think there's only 3. I think there's one in Kingwood, Atascocita, and in Conroe. The one in Conroe is not that good. The one in Kingwood, though, hits every time.
Interesting.
I think I went to a Culver's in Kansas City, actually. We flew into Kansas City, and I drove to Manhattan. And I think I stopped at a Culver's on the way to Manhattan, Kansas. A little out there.
Okay.
Yeah, there is one.
Well, that's one thing I will always appreciate Pat Mahomes for is he brought Whataburger to Kansas City. So I finally get a little bit of home because of Pat Mahomes. So yeah, hey, if you bring Whataburger, that's
Shout out to
fine. Like,
Texas Tech.
that to me, that yeah, you gotta have a little Texas style in there. Well, Jeremy, if you do like a good cinnamon roll or breakfast, I recommend a good. My aunt owns it. It's in Tomball, Texas, and it's called the Nook. And their cinnamon roll, or they were on what's that? Drive-ins,
I've heard
diners,
of
and
the
drives,
Nook.
whatever. Yes, they were on that show. It's their homemade cinnamon roll is pretty
You know what?
pretty
I
fantastic.
think I've driven by this place.
The Nook.
So their cinnamon rolls are good.
Yeah, well, anything I like. I mean, I'm a little biased because my aunt.
Oh, it's
but
on Main Street in
it's pretty good
Tomball. I
food.
have driven by this place. I know exactly where this is at. I've never been, but I know
Yes,
exactly
sir.
where this is at.
Well, you go in there and you tell them Matt
And they're gonna
Briggs
kick me
sent
out?
you, they will definitely hook you up. Yeah, they'll give you a good deal. Definitely check
I will
it out.
do that. Yeah,
Well, guys,
I've
with that,
driven by it. I've always
tell
wondered
us
if
where
it
we
was
can
good.
find
It's
it.
good
What
to
you
know
got
that.
cooking your way.
Oh, you don't want to find me anywhere. I'm annoying. You don't want to follow me. I tweet and post way too much, and you're gonna get into an argument with me, and I don't want you to beat me in an argument. You don't need to follow me anywhere.
You can't, come on, Jeremy. You gotta tell us where the good stuff is.
I was serious, but if you're just hell bent that you have to follow me at Jeremy Branham on Twitter. I've been trying to get my TikTok game going, but it's been a slow and steady race. I guess I don't dance enough, but at Jeremy J. Branham on TikTok, and then you can listen to us just kind of talk about sports on ESPN 97.5, Killer Bees 3 to 6.
Look, I think you're being a little modest. I think your Twitter account is one of the best, especially when fans get upset with you. I enjoy it.
I don't know if they like that though.
I mean, Harley, you kind of agree, right? Kind of enjoy the stupid fans.
It's fun, every once in a while. I know Jeremy Branham enjoys the engagement farming at time to time. I
don't know how to describe that. I really don't care to engagement farm. I really like the engagement part of it, though.
Uh-huh.
Like I do like having conversations with.
I
people.
do too.
Like it's fun to me. Like a lot of people get mad when people like disagree with them. I'd rather you disagree with me. Like that to me is how you have the best conversation. Like let's talk about and like what are we talking about here?
If everybody had the same opinion, it'd be stupid, right?
Yeah, like if we had disagreement on like serious stuff, okay, like I can understand that's not fun. But we're talking about who should bat fourth in the Houston Astros lineup.
Yeah, come on.
I mean, let's not take ourselves too seriously here. So like those conversations are fun to me. I like to get in it, and plus like I learned that way. Like okay, I people don't think I'm open-minded, and I do have conviction with how I talk, but I like to think I am open-minded. But that's how I learned. Like, okay, I think this guy should play right guard. Well, no, here's who should play right guard. Here's why. That's a good point. I wonder if I should rethink my thought on that. So I enjoy the engagement thing. I kind of mock the engagement farming thing, but yeah, I have fun with it.
All right, Harley, where can we find you? What you got cooking that way we support you?
Yeah, you can find me at @TheLead_HOU anywhere on social media, especially YouTube. I'm on the road to 13,500 subs, trying to get to 15K before training camp. That's like the big goal for me. So hoping to get there soon. Again, appreciate every single one of y'all, man. I'm over 1,000 now on TikTok, so that's some good news for me. Almost at 1,000 on Instagram. That's been a slow climb. And of course, Twitter, same thing at @TheLead_HOU. So, yeah, man, I appreciate it. Have a lot of fun, and thank you for having me on, man.
What was the YouTube, Harley?
Right there at @TheLead_HOU or The Lead Houston. You could also type that in if it comes up. The name of my YouTube channel at times seems to conserve itself away from anything Houston sports related.
The Lead,
but I try. Say it again.
The Lead Houston?
Yes, sir.
Your last one was on Darby?
Oh, did I make a Darby one?
CJ Stroud injury update. Ronald Darby retires. Is this
you? Yeah.
Okay.
That one is so every 8:00 in the morning I have Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, 8:00 in the morning. I'll post the 30-minute Bleacher Report, which that's where I'm on. I work with Bleacher Report, myself and Ruben. We work on Bleacher Report. So that's a 30-minute video every 8:00 in the morning, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. So I'll post it that morning. And it's usually it's just a recording of the live stream we had the day before. And so, yeah, that's what I'll post that. And then I'll post a bunch of shorts, a bunch of other videos, bunch of different stuff.
Yeah, I'm scrolling through here. You crush it with this content. This is good.
One of the best in the game. One of the best in the game.
Yeah, it's real good.
I think he's very modest too. He's killing it.
I try. I talk to a camera and I hope it talks back to me one day. So,
well, there you go.
It's better than talking to yourself.
Yeah, a lot of you don't hear you talk to you back, right? Well, you can follow my brothers. I couldn't be here. Fifth Ward Crenshaw, Texans T, and Here Came Out. Follow myself at A1 Day One Texans, and like Ruben said, follow the show Texans Fan About everywhere. We're not quite Ruben's numbers yet, or Harley's number. We're only at 3K. We're trying to get 5K before training camp, but everywhere else we're Facebook, we're hitting 5K. TikTok almost at 3, and Instagram almost at 3. So keep following. We couldn't do this without you guys. So we couldn't have amazing people like Jeremy on. So keep it up. We do it because of you guys. Till then, stay blessed. Hopefully the Astros can pull another win out tomorrow. And until then, have a good week.
I'ma calm down. Once we chop it up, there's an H-Town anthem, so we gotta slow it up.